Jai Gajanan, Ganeshaya Namastubhyam, Herambaya Ekadantine, Swanandavasine Tubhyam, Brahmanaspataye Namaha. So, good morning, everybody. This last morning, yesterday, we saw the Lokas, the Patala Lokas, the various Lokas in between Patal, the earth and the Patal Loka. There were 6 Lokas in between. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Mahatala, Tala, Tala, and all of those, and the various characteristics, the people who inhabit those lokas, and then we have not still discussed the real hells, which are 34 in number below Patal Loka, where you have to undergo all sufferings. These are all lokas which are in the realm of enjoyment for the Daityas, Rakshasas, Danavas. Means the evil beings, their palaces are all located in these lokas, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, and all, where even Mahabali, who is going to be the next Indra, is located in Mahatala. So these are not the actual places where you will be suffering. Suffering is still there in 34 other hells, which was not discussed in detail because it is really very very frightening and tormenting. Some of the names are Raurava, Tamishtra, Maharaurava, Andata Mistra, Shuchimukha, Lohadanda, Taptavaluka, Khadgapatraka, Lalasya, Krimibaksha, and others. Many of them are there where the dead people are, means the sinful, when they go for their misdeeds, they are attacked by insects and bitten by ants and by bees, and various kinds of tortures are there. Okay, so that we have finished. Now we come to the eldest son of Prajapati, that is Priyavrata. This was from Uddha, the other son, the second son. So now we come to Priyavrata's son, Agnidhara. Now Agnidhara was the son who was in charge of the earth. We saw the above lokas, Bhuva, Swaloka, where Priyavrata's sons were in the kings or the Prajapatis of those lokas. Now Agnidhara's son was named Nabhi. Okay, Agnidhara's son was named Nabhi. He was born from the sacrificial fire. When sometimes when they don't have sons, they do yajnas, and propitiate the Agni Deva. And Agni Deva comes from that yajna kunda, and he manifests a child. Sometimes it is the form of a kumbha kalash with some nectarous kind of a sweet rice or something like that, like how Rama was born. The kumbh, from the kumbh, from Agni Deva brought a kalash, or from which was there was the payasam or the sweet rice, which was given to Kaushalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi, and then they got sons, 4 sons: Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna. So like that, from the Yagna Kund, either the child themselves manifest, or it is in the form of this some kind of a prasad, which when consumed, which eaten, can propitiate your lineage. That is the child gets born in the womb. Similarly, like Vishwamitra, then you have Draupadi also. Draupadi manifested from the fire as such. Directly from the fire, not from the kalash or something. So here we have Nabhi, who was born from the sacrificial fire. He was a devotee of Vishnu. He was actually he was an incarnation itself of Vishnu. Ansh incarnation means part incarnation, part of the part of a part incarnation. He was born in the family of this Agnidhara. Now Nabhi also begot one son. Nabhi also begot a son, Rishabha, from a yajna. Normally, so this Nabi also begot a son. I think Shri Hari is not able to join. 1 minute. I'll just check the message. Some message is there. Yeah, there is. Poor fellow, he's. Hmm, okay. I hope he's able to join now. He has gone. I think he also went and clicked on that other link. Yeah. Yeah. So from Agnidra's son was name was Nabi was born from the Yagnakunda, and yeah, Nabi also begot a son from the Yagnakunda only. His name was Rishabha. Sometimes these um, sons, I mean these offsprings who come from the Agnikunda, Yagnakunda, they being ansh of the divine of the gods, they will not be able to procreate naturally, because that is one of the curse of the gods, that they cannot procreate. So that is, they are eternal. So but they cannot procreate that. That is why again he Nabi also performed the yagna, and from the yagna kunda he got Rishabha from the yagna. He was also an embodiment of Vishnu, a small ansh of Vishnu. Nabi was content. Now Rishabha, that he got a son. See, in those days, or even now, it's always believed that the lineage should. There should be a lineage, means we should not, the Vamsha should not end, right? That is, there should be a lineage so that the son can do kriya karmas for the
Right.
ancestors.
Yeah.
So because that is a food of the ancestors don't have a body to eat or anything, they only get from the subtle energy that gets transmitted through mantras or through agni kunda and all. Those mantras are carried to the pitraloka, to the ancestors, to those lokas where they are inhabiting, even gods. So that is why we have to keep doing these are our karmas, these are our duties. It is not or there is no either or and all here. It has to be done. There is nitya karmas, nimitta karmas, naimittika karmas. These are karmas which have to be done. If you don't do, then you will get children who won't do it for you. Yes, that is a law, because you don't pass on that habit to your children.
If
So they
you don't
won't do
believe,
it.
they won't believe.
They won't do it. Yeah, they won't. You don't believe, they won't believe. So that is why, unless and until this knowledge is passed down, it is there in the DNA, but unless it manifests as actions, it doesn't really take effect. Otherwise it is dormant until it is kindled. Until the time it is kindled, the kundalini energy activates that particular cell, that particular strand of cells, then only it will work. Otherwise it will not work. So Rishabha was born again. Now Rishabha got 100 sons. Okay. And among those 100 sons, Bharata was the eldest. Bharata, Bharat Varsha, this Bharat, the Indian subcontinent, which is known as Bharata Varsha, got its name from this eldest son of Rishabha. Okay, so Rishabha got 100 sons, but out of these 100 sons, 81 of them became mendicants, or I mean, they became sannyasis. They did austere penance, and they took to penance and that kind of work, Brahmins, and became Brahmins. Means they brahmacharya, that is, they will follow the path of Brahma. They will observe celibacy. They, then other 9 sons, they became yogis. Now they were not inclined to this material world or any propagation of lineage and all, so they abandoned that lineage forever, and they became Ganapati yogis. Who were they? The 9 of them, they were Kavi, Hari, Antariksha, Pippalayana, Prabuddha, Avirhotra, Karbhajana, Drimila, and Chamasa. So this Kavi is Shukracharya, is another name. So this is all in this yuga, in this Manvantara. So many times, many of those lineages which were in the earlier yugas, some of them, I told you, in 213 of them, they just immolated couples. So that Gotra itself got ended. There was no lineage. That Gotra itself got ended. So, but then sometimes these are born again in every Manvantara. So to again keep that lineage ongoing. So these were the now here these 9 of them. These became Ganapati yogis. They became yogis. So how many were remaining? 81 plus 9, 90. So remaining 10 were there. So that those 10 people became kings. Okay. This now Agnidhara, he had this whole earth to himself. And in those days, the out of the 10 of the remaining 10, 9 ruled the 9 divisions, Khanda of the Jambudvipa. In the earlier land configuration of the earth, this whole Asia, matlab, this whole Asia, including China and all of that Asia, what we consider as Asia, was India. Was that Ajana Bhava Varsha? It is called Ajana Bhava Varsha, or that whole land piece, land mass was ruled by Ajana Bhava Varsha, who was a descendant of Priyavrata, who ruled. Later on, when the Rishabha's son Bharata ruled, it became Bharata Varsha. That is now we know as Bharata Varsha, that portion of the Indian subcontinent that below the Himalayas. So that became Bharata Varsha. Earlier, it was one king who ruled, Ajana Bhava. Ajana Bhava was another one. This king. So he ruled that Ajana Bhava Varsha, that entire Asia. So now what China says, that this whole thing is ours. Later on, China has now decided that that 100-year plan, उनका एक 100-year plan है जो 100 years में उनको ये पूरा एशिया को they want to come under China. So they are capturing one by one by one by one island, everything, extending their tentacles and coming down, 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 down. So they have come up to Pakistan on top, and then here Tripura and all of that. So they are little by little inching forward. So that is their intent. But then it was not theirs. It was Ajana Bhava Varsha in the earliest times. Unke hisab se, that I think that Mao Zedong, or the earlier Chinese premier who was there, जो 100 years plan जो उनका ancestor, they are called the elders. The Chinese government में कुछ लोग elders उनको बोलते हैं, जो those who keep the knowledge of this ancient history of China. So उन्होंने decide किया है कि ये पूरा हमारा हिस्सा है, so we'll have to take it back, we'll have to reconquer it. But it was a conquered land, it was not their land originally. In fact, the Chinese which was there on the top in the north, they traveled to India and took the knowledge there. And then they gained the knowledge. The Huan Sen and all who took, in fact, Adi Shankaracharya was actually, he became a Buddhist afterwards. He's considered the Buddha's he is considered a Buddha incarnation. So Adi Shankaracharya, yes, we believe him as a established all the Hindu, the mattas and mutt and all that. But finally, agar from where did Buddhism come? It came from Kerala only, from Adi Shankara's land only. So this Buddhist, the Buddhist Buddhism, even Jainism, many texts, scriptures are there in the Shankaracharya University in Kerala, in Kaladi. Kaladi, there is a place where Shankaracharya was born. There is one Shankaracharya University there. There are plenty, that library is filled with books on Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism, particularly Buddhism. So much of this literature originated from there. I mean, much of it was carried to Nalanda University, and many of the books were lost in that because of the burning of that. But some
Yeah.
of the texts, original texts in Pali, was carried by these Chinese tourists who wrote these tourist books. Huan Saint's tour, he's a travel to India. He has written the books where he mentions what, but how could in those days they came on donkeys and all. There was no transport. So कितना carry कर सकते हैं? Whatever they could physically carry in their jholas, they carried. And that was the knowledge that spread to China. Now China is claiming this whole thing is, they want to recapture their land. They are saying it is not their land. It was Ajanubahu's land from the Vedic period, from the beginning of the Manvantara. Then later these kingdoms were formed and all. Okay, that's a different story altogether. So right now we are in Bharata Varsha. Bharata Varsha. Bharata was ruling the Bharata Varsha, who was the ancestor of all of this Mahabharata, which has originated from there. It came from there. He was a glorious emperor amongst the 9 brothers. Having organized his kingdom in this manner, Rishabha went to the forest. Having organized this kingdom in this manner, Rishabha went to the forest. He practiced different. Rishabha, the father who got all these 100 sons, he went to the forest. He practiced different forms of yoga, and then he became a Avadhuta yogi. Now we are coming to the story of Rishabha. Bharata will stop for a moment because Bharata's story is dealt with in detail in Mahabharata and other places. So Rishabha became Avadhuta yogi. He attained all the various states of samadhi, and he went into beyond ego consciousness and the common worldly concerns and all. And he then prayed to Shankara. He observed various yogic practices and all, where you go, where you analyze the mind, the various tendencies of the mind, that is Kshipta, Vikshipta, Moodha, Ekagra, and all of those you overcome one by one, all of those tendencies. And then when you go beyond that, you come to certain stages of the tamasic stages of all of this, that is jada, pishacha, unmatta. That also stages you have to experience and go beyond, means overcome those are tamasic stages, and then you reach a sahaja state. The sahaja state is that of Shiva. Shiva, where you are detached, totally dispassionate, totally detached, and you are in yourself. That is self knowing, or swadhina, self dependent. Here, Atmanirbharta doesn't is not Atmanirbharta. It is self dependent. That is swadhina, swadhina. That is, even you are dependent on your own soul. Then you come to this level. Then the avyakta, that is then is a stage of avyakta, the unmanifest, and the form of neti brahma. So he became a shaiva yogi. Final, that is, you pass through shakti brahma, you pass through surya brahma, you pass through sama brahma, and then you become a sahaja brahma or neti brahma. Now, in this stage, you are in a detached state. You are dispassionate. You're totally dependent on yourself. And then you know where Shiva lives, on the smashan ground. Means totally dispassionate. So when you reach that stage, you have no feelings, or you don't have any emotional attachment to anything. So you're not inclined to undertake any activity. So you prefer sitting in samadhi all the time. That is, you just like Shiva. Shiva is always in a state of samadhi. He's not in contact at, he may be aware, awareness will be there of what will happen, what is happening, what will happen. He's a future, he knows the future also, but he will be dispassionate, he'll be unconcerned with what is happening, he will not interfere. So so when this who's this fellow, the uh, Rishabha, when he reached that stage, he realized the defects of that stage. Now, see, he has come as a human being, he has evolved. Whereas Shiva himself is an Amsha part of Ganesha. He manifests. Ganesha split himself into these four: Shakti, Surya, Vishnu, and Shiva. But whereas this person has evolved from from the lowest, all of emotions and everything, and has come up to the native Brahma. So he knows the pleasures of the other side and what are the defects also. So when he reached the stage of native Brahma, he realized the defects of that stage. So he became aware of the defects of Swadhina Brahma. What were the defects of Swadhina Brahma? Then he was astounded. So he became, how can Brahma possess qualities like, he questions himself, how can Brahma possess qualities like Swadhina and Paradhina, dependent on oneself and dependent on others? Shiva is a Swadhina, self dependent. Hence, he cannot be a Yogindra. So he says he cannot be a Yogindra to resolve. So when he was confused with these thoughts, he decided to resolve it. So he directly went to Shankara himself. He decided, let me go to Shiva himself and ask him, how are you managing the state? So when he went to Shankara Kailash, he saw that there were so many devotees sitting there in front of Shankara and listening to him. The Ganesha also was, the worshippers of Ganesha was also there. So Rishabha asked, Oh Shankara, I bow to you. You are an embodiment of yoga. I bow to you, Lord of Brahmas. Oh Swami, give me that knowledge where I can get peace. Give me peace. I'm not in your, when I reach your stage, I'm not having peace. I'm still confused. So I am your disciple. I am your servant. Please give me this knowledge of it gives. I was under the impression that the Sahaja state, that the Sahaja Brahma is that state where where one experiences Swadhina, that is self-dependent. That means when you're dependent on yourself itself, you will have peace. But now my peace is disturbed. Why is this? So then, what is the state where my peace is disturbed? So that is a confusion. Even in Sahaja state, there is no peace. So that means there is some other knowledge which will give you that peace of mind. So Rishabha is asking this question to Shankara. Shankara looks at him. Then Mudgalacharya is continuing this conversation, the narration of this conversation to Daksha Prajapati. So he says, "Oh Daksha, when Rishabha asked this question to Shiva, Shiva explained it to this. Now he is also known as Pashupata. This Rishabha is also Pashupata. If you remember, there is a Pashupati Astra also. Pashupati Astra. So this Shiva, that is who is Pashupati. Oh great yogi, what you have asked can redeem a yogi itself. Means that kind of a precious question you have asked. I shall impart that knowledge happily. Listen with carefully with a single pointed mind. So he's now Shiva is explaining what it is. The ancient Vedas have described Ganesha Yoga as Shanti Yoga. Yogis have always worshipped the yogic form of Ganesha. Everything that exists here in this world, this universe, it is Him alone. It is because of His support that everything is sustained. In the end, everything will be merged into Him because it is from His akara, from His form, that this form, all these forms has emerged, and finally it will get. You were talking about the black hole, it will all go back into His form. So the enigma of yoga has been revealed in Samaveda. So if you want to know the more in detail, you will get it in Samaveda, Rig Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, Yajurveda. These are the four Vedas. So Sama Veda is generally the Veda which is sung in Kailash. In this Shaivites, the Shiva devotees generally sing the Sama Veda. Okay, it goes slowly, means it has a long tune to it, very um, subtle tune, like melodious tune to it. It's not like the other Vedas where you are is very forcefully said. Those words are very and which has a meter to it and all. This is more melodious, Samaveda. So this enigma is given in the in this is revealed in the Samaveda, he says. So if you understand that, you will get peace. So he says that which can be experienced by the mind and which can be understood by the mind and expressed through speech, it is known as Mano Vani Maya. Matlab, that Mano Vani Maya, that is that which can be understood by the mind and expressed through speech. So this is expressed by the term G. The term G, Sare G, G, that G is the sound which means that which can be understood by the mind and expressed through speech. So that is a Gakara Brahma. It symbolizes the Shabd Ga, or the sound Ga, or the force Ga, or the energy Ga. It represents all that is visible in nature, visible and the invisible universe. That which cannot be experienced by the mind and which cannot be expressed by speech, it is called Mano Vani Vihina. Mano Vani Vihina, and this is expressed by the sound syllable na in our consonants, in the Sanskrit consonants. We have kha kha ga ga nga cha 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 ja nya tha ta da da na tha ta da da na pa pa va va ma ya ra la va sha sha sa ha ra la ksha trinya. That is, we add some more this which is joint words like sha, tra, nya, those things. Finally added, but otherwise all of this all of these consonants, these all are sound which were seen by the seers or the saints, the maharshis in their meditation, and then they expressed it as these words, which was written in this Prakritic language, Prakritic lipi, as ka, kha, ga, nga, and all. So among these aksharas, that's why it is called Akshara Brahma. Akshara Brahma, that which is sound manifestation from Brahma. So Ga represents the visible and the invisible universe. Nar, which is that which can be understood by the mind and which can be expressed in words. Then Na represents that which cannot be understood by the mind and which cannot be expressed in words. So this joint of this Ga and Na becomes Gana. Gana is collective. The collective of all of this, that which can be understood by the mind, which cannot be understood by, which can be expressed by words, and all that which cannot be understood by the mind and which cannot be expressed by words, together form the collective, and the Lord of that collective is Ganesh. Isha of Gana is Ganesh. So the Lord of Gana is Ganesh. So, and all this manifestation is from that totality. So, what are the manifestations from that totality? From Gakara are the 24 tattvas, which we already saw in detail in earlier chapters, but here a mention is made again of them because Shiva is repeating this knowledge to Rishabha, who has asked this question. So he says there are 24 tattvas, the five gross element, Prithvi, Apa, Teja, Vayu, Akash, that is earth, water, air, fire, and space. Fire, air, and space. Then you have the tanmatras, five tanmatras, that sub elements, sub tattvas that comes from these five gross elements. That is your sense of taste, Prithvi, sense of smell, Apa, sense of taste, then Teja, sense of form, Vayu, sense of touch, and Akasha, sound. So all these five the elements, sub elements comes from there. Then you have the subtle elements, the sense of so you have smell, taste, visual form, thermal sensation, sound, five subtle elements. That is smell, taste, light, touch, and sound. Then the five organs of action. That is your speaking, hands, legs, your digestive system, and procreation, reproductory systems. And the five sense organs. That is the ears, eyes, nose, uh, skin, tongue, ears, eyes, nose, tongue, and skin. Yes. So the five sense organs. So all of then besides this, there is mind, manas, buddhi, ahankara. That is a mind, intellect. Then you have the sense of I-ness. So all of this is there. This pure I sense is all so, where is the manas, where thoughts and determinations originate? Then the ego, ahankara, that is I-ness, from there ego originates, whether that is I'm this or that. That gives a possession of mine, yours, and things. The pure I sense, buddhi tattva, is pure I sense, bereft of all attributes. Then you have Prakriti or that is gunas. Prakriti, that is gunas, Sattva guna, Raja guna, and Tamo guna, where it is all that is, which is predominant or a combination of all of this. So you are a package of all these things. Not only you, everything in this universe is a package of all of these things, all or some or part of it. All that is perishable is created from Nakara Brahma. This includes the animate and inanimate, the living, non-living, destructible. This includes incarnations, devas, worlds established by them. So both these types of Brahmas exist in the name of Ganesha. So Ganesha is inclusive of all of this. This is there in all the Shrutis. The Swami or Lord of all of this is Ganesha. Hence, O son, worship him. Then you will attain peace. So, by knowing what is it that you have to worship, you will be able to know how you have to worship or worship, how to do that worship. So he says, you worship that Ganesha and you will get peace. So everything that can be experienced by the mind and expressed through speech is called Manovanimaya, and that which can be not be understood by the mind and which cannot be expressed by speech is called Manovani Vihina. Both of them come from the same Ganesha, the same Gananayaka, who enlightens everything. He enlightens all things of the mind, intellect, buddhi, O Mahayogi. That is why he is known as Chintamani. He is the jewel. He is the jewel or crest of the Chitta Bhumi. That is the field of the mind. What is the field of the mind? Not only thoughts, it is also the memory, it is also the judgment, the capacity for discrimination. All of this comes under the Chitta Bhumi or the territory of the mind. And the lord of that is Chintamani, which is another name for Ganesha. O Mahayogi, worship that Chintamani. Immerse in yoga sadhana. Sacrifice the five tendencies of the mind, that is Kshipta, Vikshipta, Muda, Ekagra, and restraint. Then Ganesha, who is the lord of perishable and eternal Brahma, he is the Sanyoga, the union of all that is uh, animate, inanimate, and ayoga. The union of Sanyoga and ayoga does not exist in him. He exists beyond that. Because in the union of Sanyoga and ayoga, there is Maya. Maya has also emanated from him. So he is beyond that. Having expounded all of this, having explained all this briefly, we have seen much in detail. Shiva says, Shiva became silent. After explaining all of this, Shiva just remained quiet. Rishabha was overjoyed. He understood how to navigate this path of confusion. He danced in joy. He bowed to Shiva and went into the forest. He practiced the yoga that Shiva taught. So now Mudgalacharya is telling Daksha Prajapati, O Daksha, yet he did not stop meditating on Ganesha even for a second. So when he did not stop meditating, Ganesha manifested before him. And when he saw Ganesha himself, that supreme Lord manifest before him, tears of joy flowed from his eyes. His skin was covered with goosebumps. In that state, he folded his hands in prayer and extolled Ganesha. So he sings in praise of Ganesha. Let us quickly see that sloka in Sanskrit. It is similar to most of all the great devas who have sung in that ecstatic state when they extol the praise. What kind of words come from their mouth? Rishabha Vacha. Rishabha says, Namaste Brahmarupaya. Namaste Brahmarupaya. Ganesha Karunanidhe Bheda Abheda Vihinaya गणानां पतये नमः निराकाराय नित्याय जगदाकारमूर्तये अनन्ताय परेशाय परत्परा परत्परतराय ते आदिमध्यान्तहीनाय गुणाकाराय ते नमः गुणेशाय जगत्सृष्ट्रे पालकाय हराय च नमो नानावताराय भक्तपालनहेतवे सुरासुरमयायैव सुरासुरपुसुपूजितः योगाय योगदात्रे च योगाकाराय ते नमः योगानां पतये तुभ्यं ब्रह्मणां पतये नमः सर्वादये गणाध्यक्ष सर्वपूज्याय दुष्टुण्डये सर्वान्ते यवशिष्टाय विघ्नेशाय नमो नमः हेरम्बाय निजानन्द वासिने सिद्धसेवित सिद्धिबुद्धिपते तुभ्यं नानाखेलकराय ते धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाणां दायकाय नमो नमः ब्रह्म ब्रह्मीभूतकरायैव ब्रह्मभूतभयाय च किं स्तौमि त्वां गणाधीश योगशान्तिमयं प्रभु यं स्तोतुं न समर्थाश्च वेदाद्या शिव मुख्यकाम् तथापि च यथा बुद्धे ज्ञानं त्वं संस्तुतो मया भक्तिं देहि त्वदीयां मे दृढामव्यभिचारिणीम्. So in this way, he's praising Ganesh. How much can I praise you? Even Shiva and others are find it find words insufficient to praise you enough. So give me buddhi, give me that knowledge, give me bhakti, give me devotion to you, and make my devotion steadfast. So this is a the Rishabha Krit Stavana Stotra of Ganesha. We have so many stotras, out of which Rishabha, he is the Vahana of Shiva. He later became the Vahana of Shiva. He was the bull amongst devotees. So in this way, he has praised Ganesha and Mudgalacharya. He says Ganesha lifted Rishabha and blessed him that you shall get all devotion. You will be a knower of Shiva. You will be the most beloved disciple of Shiva. Shiva Prajna, he will be a knower of Shiva, the eternal Vishnu himself. Remember, Shiva, Rishabha was a manifestation of a part ansh of Agni, who is Vishnu, from Vishnu. He came from Agni, Yagnakunda. So you will be, as Vishnu, you will be the most blessed devotee as a knower of Shiva himself. So that is why in some Puranas it is mentioned in the Vishnu Purana, Vishnu is asked, whom do you worship? Whom do you have in your heart? Lakshmi asks actually. Lakshmi, when she asks Vishnu, whom do you worship in your heart? He says, Shiva is there in my heart. And Shiva is to say, Vishnu is in my heart. So the best of men who read the stotra by Rishabha will be blessed with all that they desire. So in this way, we conclude this chapter, the legend of Rishabha. So we, from this legend of Rishabha, gives us a knowledge of what devotion is, where devotion can take you. This is the legend of Rishabha in the second khanda of the Mudgal Puran. It ends the 16th chapter of the second part of the Mudgal Puran. So now we shall meditate on the learnings of meditation. What is meditation? How we should meditate? Bring all your attention to yourself. See that your spine is erect, feet firmly planted on the floor, eyes gently closed, focusing all your attention on that deepest part of yourself that you consider I. Where is that I within you? Is it in your mind? Is it in your body? Is it in your emotions? Who am I? Where in my body is that I? Search for it. Where is that feeling of I? Is it in Bombay? Is it in Pune? Is it in Delhi? Is it inside your body? Does it travel with your thought? Does it travel with your plans, ambition, desires? It's there everywhere, right? That sense of I, here the sense of I is different from ego. Ego is personalized, but the sense of I is the same in all. The way I feel I is the same as the way you feel I. Identify with that I-ness, the universal I-ness. It's from that universal I-ness which takes birth as this human being, human body. When you're born, it is given an identity, a name, a relation, a form, a sound, feeling, sensations, and everything else. So that it's the universal I-ness that is expressed as different forms in the form of different human beings, different plants, different animals, swarm of this universe. That's the common thread that ties us all together. The Gita describes it like Manigana eva, that is, like the pearls on a string of a necklace. It's the common thread that binds us all together. To be able to recognize that I, when we are dealing with each other, when we are conversing with each other, is the secret for peace. To be able to look beyond the I personality to the actual I. That's why the sadhak, the seeker, is known as Rishabha. Rishabha means bull. Bull who's as silent as the bull before the Shivalinga, who listens when we whisper in his ears and conveys directly to Shiva. So his eye is in attunement with Shiva, the universal eye. Symbolically, when we go to a Shiva temple, we whisper in the ears of Nandi, who is none other than that Shiva. All our practices reflect a deeper truth that we need to understand with our mind as heard and expressed through words. Manovani Maya, to understand that which is Manovani Vihina, that which cannot be understood by the mind nor expressed through words. That's the journey of meditation. Hold on to this thought and derive deep inspiration from why we are meditating every day, its ultimate purpose. It gives us deep sense of peace. A desireless absence that we desire for throughout our lifetime. And surprisingly, that absence gives us all the energy to achieve our desires. Take a nice deep breath. Bring all your consciousness back into your body, into yourself. Feel your breath. Slowly wriggle your fingers and toes. Rub your hands together. Cup your palms, place it on the eyes. Gently rub your eyes and your face and open your eyes.